Hi, everyone.
Hey,
I'm Alicia,
and I'm Meredith.
and this is It's About the Pasta, a Vanderpump Rules podcast. This is season 11, reunion 1 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Meredith is in Paris, so we are going to review best as possible. Really quick, everyone, before we get into the episode, check us out on the A&M Podcast Network. We have a bunch of other podcasts. That's all I'm going to say. Please be sure to rate, review, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Vanderpasta. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/Vanderpasta. For $1 a month, you get access to our pre-shows that Meredith and I and sometimes Sarah do, and then you get access to any episodes we record early. For $2 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, when we do old seasons, we'll do an after show. But since this is live seasons, we'll talk about anything we want on this episode. You know the drill. I don't know why you'd be joining just for the reunion,
Yeah.
but if you are, okay. Also, I'll say your name on the podcast so quickly. Maybe if my computer fucking loads. Meredith, how's Paris while I get this set up?
It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. I'm exhausted. It's
How
one of
is
those
Taylor?
things where you're running ragged and you like are silent at dinner.
How is Taylor Swift? Really quick, in 3 words or less.
Oh, TTPD is everything. It made me so excited about the new album.
Okay. Let me thank you, patrons. So thank you to Allie, Ashton, Chris, Darby, Dee, Gabriella, Jackie, Jamie, Jennifer, Kirsten, Casey, Kelsey, Kirby, Chrissy, Lady Swamp Witch, Lauren, Lindsay with an I, Lindsay with a Y, Priscilla, Robin, Sammy, Sarah L, Sarah R, Tierney, Tonette, Tracy, Allie, Amber, Ann, Emily, Gina, Isabella, Kelly, Lady Nee, Leanne, Lisa, Nina, Taylor, and Tara. Yay! Thank you so
Woohoo!
much. Also, sorry for the silence. I just had to cough really quick. Okay, and then for $5 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, when we are in live seasons, which is now, I'll ask for your questions, comments, opinions, concerns, and talk about it right here on the podcast. And I'll pick a patron of the episode. But we're in reunion, so you know what? I'm not going to pick a patron of the episode. It is Meredith for being abroad right now, and we all know how awkward it is when you film abroad because I was in Hawaii and it was the worst day of my life. Anyway.
I promise it's not that bad.
Okay, well, it was for me, so trauma. Anyway, should we get into the reunion right away? Let's do it.
Yes, I was really excited for the reunion, but I'm gonna be honest,
What do you think? Just
I
high
was
level.
I was let down. I was like, okay, I kept waiting for the like anything interesting.
Yeah, I felt like we could probably get through this in not so much time because there was nothing
Yeah.
to talk about. Okay, cool. So we do hellos. Andy's the mediator because Anne wasn't available. Haha. Everyone's feeling better than last year. We finally get a sandwich shop opening, which is basically as this airs next
So
week.
yeah, it's like a few days
So
after this releases, which is wild.
Ariana's pregnant. Sheena and Brock bought a house right near Lala in the valley. So if that tells
Lala
us
is pregnant.
anything,
You just said Oriana's pregnant. That
whoops.
would be wild.
Oh my God. So sorry.
Can
Lala
you
is pregnant.
imagine?
Ariana is not. Sheena, Brock, and Lala all bought houses in the valley. They
Mm-hmm.
may be going to the valley next season.
We shall
Um,
see.
James is bringing his Kennedy Kenergy, which, what a green flag for a man, you know? I'm so
That
obsessed.
he's really turned it around the most.
Okay, so let's go right in. Tom and Ariana still living under the same roof. Ariana has filed a petition of action to force the sale of the house, but they can't talk anymore about it because it is in legal
Ugh,
proceedings. However,
which I
Ariana,
I
oh,
just want
gone.
all the juicy like details. Like I know why they can't tell us, but one day when they can, I want to know all the like nitty gritty. Like, can Tom actually afford this? Is he just being annoying? Like, what is Ariana's stuff saying? Like, I know we're like getting all the legal documents, but still,
It doesn't help. Like if you can't tell us anything, why bring it up? It's
I
like a
know.
tease. But Ariana is out of the house. She's currently either at an Airbnb or in New York. So then this is when Andy brings up that when Jax cheated on Brittany, Sandoval told Jax he should leave the apartment.
Which,
And
whew,
Sandoval's like, well, yeah, but I would feel differently if Jax was in a 5 bedroom home.
I mean, basically what I
Which,
heard is, do as I say, not as I do.
yes, for sure. So Sheena covered. We didn't see she covered up that Lego couples picture of
Yeah.
Sandoval and Ariana. But we also talk about how their house was a complete fucking mess, chaos. The two of them live in absolute chaos. And let me tell you, I will live in absolute chaos sometimes, but it's never this bad. This is
I
crazy.
I like didn't fully notice it during this season because we
I
didn't film
did.
as much. I feel like in their
Mhm.
house, it was always just in their bedrooms, and
Their bedrooms were a mess.
I know, but like that's someone's like space that usually you don't film in that, you know? Like usually you'd be in the living room, but because like they were avoiding each other, it was a lot of the gym this year and like Ariana's bedroom. And I always think
No.
about over on Summer House, Sierra's bed from her first season during the COVID season, and she would just sleep next to all of that stuff.
Listen, I'm the worst because I'm currently looking at a bunch of clean laundry on my couch right now. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have to put it away. But if cameras are coming,
You wouldn't have that there. Yeah.
whatever. So Ariana explained she was in a purging phase and was pulling everything out. And honestly, she probably won't even bring those clothes with her in her next phase of life. Um, Sandoval says he keeps his room pretty clean, which he has Schwartz and Billy Lee to back him up on that statement.
Oh my God. I was
Um,
like, wow, yeah, like those are the opinions that are truth and light here.
And then that's when James was like, but you have cleaners, or is it and cleaning? That's why your place is clean.
Yeah.
But Sandoval says he gets really passionate about stuff, and then it gets like messy in his house when he's passionate. Um, so sometimes he's just a little messy, but it's all because of passion. It made no
That's
sense. No one cares.
no. I mean, when my house is messy, it's usually because I'm like depressed.
They
So
should
maybe I can just relabel my depression as passion.
passion. They should really hire us to do reunions because I would have been like, what kind of passion causes you to be messy?
Yeah, I mean,
Immediately, I'd be like, dig in.
all I thought about was the singles party where that random hair was on the ground. Like, what passion are we talking about here?
Passion with his hobbies, you know? So Schwartz did agree to be Sandoval's roommate in San Francisco, which he admits was a stick. It was sticky,
Yeah,
um, obviously. And then he does not think before he speaks. Whoever his
no.
PR person is, I'm so sorry for you. He says he just wanted to remember what it feels like to propose again.
Like, what?
He also
Because,
he's
like,
so insulting to Katie still. He hates
yeah.
women. He hates Katie.
I was like, sir, it's not like you did an incredible job at your proposal to Katie.
It was at a restaurant. It was incredibly weird
It was weird. And
because
you
he
can
broke
always go
up
watch
another
it back.
proposal. Yeah, it was
Yes.
terrible.
Like, you
So
can relive it.
So Schwartz misses having a home, but he has reservations about living in Sandoval's home. And
Yeah.
Lisa's literally like, "Why would you want to live there? Like you're grown ups." And Schwartz is like, "I want like to pay something. I want investment property. Like we're actually looking in places together." Which Lisa's like, "Why would you want roommates?" And Sandoval's like, "Actually, my dad's in his 60s and he has roommates."
Oh, like he was touting this like it was some groundbreaking thing. Sir, we
I
all
was
lived
like,
in
"That's a
college.
flex. What a
Like,
flex, you
we
know?"
have had that time in our life where we have had roommates, and it's okay if you presently have roommates, but
It's
nothing
fine.
screams like excitement, like it's telling me that your dad has roommates at 60 and like that's the life you want to live.
It's just like actually it's not weird because I know one person that does it. You know, it's just like that doesn't help your argument ever. And
No.
roommates have a great listen, sometimes I miss coming home to a roommate and being like, should we watch a show
Mm-hmm.
together? That's why Meredith and I are always like, we need to live next door to each other, right?
Yes.
We're always like, so we can kind of have the roommates but still have our space.
Yep.
And I'm sure if someone offered us, Meredith, a giant home, we could be roommates in that
Oh,
giant home.
absolutely. But
However,
But if you were
that
Sandoval level crazy and like destroying your life,
you have to up your rent. Your life is
mhm.
shit. It's technically my house that you rent from me. It just doesn't.
Well,
Also,
and
just get a life.
watching Ariana's version of being like his roommate, but not really like you don't get the benefits of like a partner, you know? I don't want to deal with this. Like for your birthday, you're gonna have these weird parties and then like your assistant's gonna clean it up like at like 4 p.m. the next day. No, thank you. Like that's why I don't want roommates. Like I know whatever mess is created is my own thing. Like
Yeah.
Schwartz talking about wanting an investment and missing having a home and a yard, like that that makes sense to me. Like, okay, he
Yeah.
just wants to be in a house, not necessarily roommates with Sandoval. Sandoval, like, wants to fuck life up with his best friend by his side.
He just wants the house. Which like
Yeah.
I think he thought he was gonna get the house with Rachel moving in with him. Like that
Oh
that
my
was gonna be
God.
their new house.
I don't
Yeah,
understand how
right.
he thought he could afford it with Rachel. There's no way Rachel was going to pay 6 grand to live in that house.
She's she's got the money. Well, honestly, if they would have stayed together, I think they would get less hate. Like this is like you
Oh,
blew
a
up your
thousand
life for
percent.
nothing.
And she
So they
keeps
could have.
talking about it.
Oh
Like,
my
I
god,
saw a
she's so
post of
annoying.
hers from like talking about this episode, and I'm like, girly, like, close the yearbook. You chose to walk away.
Wait, great segment because the next thing we talk about is Rachel.
God.
Which I know I flip on Rachel Raquel. Please don't fucking at me. It's just whatever they say and then I write down. So they
When
were
she does
saying
present
Rachel.
moment stuff, I like think of her as
Yeah.
Rachel, but then like anything show related, she's still
Like
like Raquel to
past.
me.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, Sandoval cheated with Raquel, but like
Mm-hmm.
Rachel has the podcast. Like it's very weird.
Yeah.
So we talk about Rachel not coming back to the show. But they have this stupid podcast where she can't shut the fuck up. And she keeps talking about this stupid show that she chose not to be on.
Yeah.
Sandoval says he actually encouraged her to take some time away from everyone and come back on her own time. Um, and then Andy's like, anyone have regrets for how they treated Rachel? And Lala, of course, is like, I wish we had had a productive conversation, but I still stand by what I said. Ariana regrets nothing,
Oh
obviously.
my God,
She
no.
actually she's proud of herself that she had the strength to confront her two perpetrators, which I
I
agree.
love that she used the word perpetrators. And also, let's remember, even during the reunion, they were still lying to her.
Yep. Yes.
Like,
Yes. My God. It was one time. It was
it was
only one
one
time.
time.
So they give Rachel and Sandoval props for being able to come because Lala was like,
No,
Ariana had
that was
a
so
whole
dumb of
backup.
Lala. Like,
I
oh, it
think
was
if
so
you're on the
great.
show, what do you mean props to come? You're fucking required to show up.
Yeah, this is your
Props.
job. Can you imagine if I asked for props every time I signed on for my job every morning? Like, it's what is expected of you.
Please. So Sandoval says, looking back, Rachel's a coward because she says she's moving on, but she can't stop talking about Vanderpump rules while still being a victim and says Sandoval's the villain. Which overall, kind of, I guess. Like, my main thing
Mm-hmm.
is she takes zero accountability. Do I think
Yeah.
Sandoval is a villain? Yes. Do I think she could be a victim in some way of his? Yes. But do I think she needs to take accountability for her part? Yes, which she's not,
I
in
also
my
don't love
eyes.
how she constantly talks about being like exploited, and I'm like, you're exploiting your own this pain too. Like, you can't really be mad that Bravo's talking about it if you're going to do it too. Because you're not adding anything to the story. That's my problem, is like you're not shedding light on like the mental health journey you walked on and truly like what you learned. It just seems like she wants to rewrite history rather than like learn some things, grow, be a better person.
Yeah. She's just like, actually, I was forced into it and I feel
Yeah.
nothing. I wasn't even friends with Ariana, you
Yeah, I
know?
wasn't friends with her. Actually, like, none of my decisions were my own fault. They were all Tom's fault. Ariana
Yeah.
was nobody to me. Like, it's just diminishing everything. And come
Agreed.
on,
Yeah.
grow
Come
up.
on. Grow up. You're the one who jumped in the pool, which we'll talk about again. So Rachel says that Sandoval groomed her, and Sandoval and Lala go back and forth because Sandoval's like, I did not groom her. And then Lala's like, yes, you did. So basically, Lala explains that to her, grooming is when someone older and more powerful takes advantage of someone who's younger and more impressionable. And Sandoval says he was actually very impressionable when she took all her clothes off and jumped into his pool, which I was like, she wouldn't have done if you told her there were towels.
It was the towels.
It
You
was the
were too
towels.
put together as an adult.
She
That's
was
how you
gonna
had like
say no.
such a power over her. It's
If
the
you
towels.
read, if you read what happened in her first podcast, she would have said no if you didn't have towels.
God. I mean, no
Whatever.
wonder Rachel didn't want to sleep with Tom back in the day whenever Tom and Ariana didn't have furniture. Like, different man once he has furniture and towels. Like, he's something to pine after.
It's so funny. So first of all, I think Lala's right. Grooming is when an older person in
Yes.
power takes advantage of a younger person. Because Sandoval's like, it implies pedophilia, which I think the
It is
connotation of
used.
grooming does,
Yes,
but that's not what
yes,
grooming is.
yes.
Um, and I think Sandoval to be like, actually, I was the one impressionable because this hot
Oh
woman is
my God.
naked. Claw your eyes out then.
Listen, everything's like a scale. Like some things are worse and some things are not as bad, but like
He's the
he
victim.
he is like older than her, has many years on this show. Like there was a power dynamic at play. Granted, like he wasn't her boss, so like there are way worse situations where you can like it's just more obvious that you're being groomed, or maybe not obvious, but just the power dynamic is a lot like harsher, I would say, but like I would understand why she felt like she was kind of groomed and like she was isolated and why she had no one, and like that was a big thing for Lala is when like Rachel said she had no one if like she turned on Tom. Like I understand that side of things
Yeah.
that she was probably going through, but she knew what she was doing at the
And
same
he's
time.
he's gross to continue to be the whole victim. He did nothing
Yeah,
wrong.
I am ready to like let him off some of the hook and like not give him 100% of this responsibility. Like she does need to sit there with some of it, whether she's on the show or not.
I just either one of them just be like, I fucked up. What I did was
Hmm.
wrong. Sure, I took advantage of someone in an impressionable state. It was bad. No buts. No,
Nope.
like, you
Nope.
did this. Nothing.
That's the thing is like
Nothing.
we still like more than a year later
And honestly,
cannot just be like, hey, I fucked up.
I hate that Andy's always like, well, everyone in this group has cheated. It's not the
Ugh.
same though. It's fucking different. And you know what? It hit different. And I'm sorry that everyone's cheating hit different on this show. And I'm sorry that like social media is a thing and it was on CNN.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't give a fuck. Because this is
But
what
also
happened.
like
This is the card you're dealt and fucking deal with it.
why did their wrongs negate yours? Like why can't you just focus on what you did? Because what happened in the last year really isn't the past in my mind because we're filming a reality TV show and we need to talk about things like your stuff is up for discussion in the
Yeah, let's
next
go.
season. Yeah, like
Yeah.
we technically did not film a season about the affair. We filmed like an episode and three reunions, but like that is such a huge portion of the next few months of your life. So it's willing to like you should be willing to talk about what's going on right there. And Tom
Yeah.
is never willing, but Ariana gets all the flack if she's not gonna like talk about things or like do things when like Tom won't let this be talked about either.
No, no, like it just we're gonna go into it so much that I don't even wanna
This had
okay.
nothing but everything at the same time because I'm still just even
That's
like
the
pissed
thing. It was
off.
nothing, but it's like the stuff we have been talking about and we will just
Yeah.
continue to talk about as long as you're giving us a platform to talk about it. Like if you stop talking about it, so would we, you know?
Yeah, true.
That's why we have stopped talking about all the other cheating scandals. Because Katie was like, you know what, I'm going to stay with Schwartz, so fuck his cheating. And no one remembers that he cheated a billion times and won.
Yep.
I mean, we do, but we don't talk about it as much.
I know because like well like you need time and distance between things and maybe
Yeah.
if you just stop speaking then like we would stop speaking.
It's fucking crazy. So Lala feels like she was projecting her own issues, but only Rachel and Sandoval know what was going on between the two of them, and
True.
Lala tends to lean towards like the what the women were say they were going through. But Lala says chick instead of women, which I have to say is such an ick for me. Like it drives
Also,
me nuts. Anyway,
Lala, you were not on Rachel's side. Like Lala is driving me nuts these days
yeah,
because yes, she was projecting her whole life and still is like onto the audience, like all her other castmates, all this stuff, and she never once is like, "Oh, hey, like sorry, I'm gonna like fix this or
yeah.
get better or like change my mindset." Like she continues to do it. And then she's trying to act like she like stood up for the woman. Like you did not stand up
For
for
the
like
chick,
Rachel. Yeah,
stood up for
like
the chick.
what?
Also, Rachel is claiming that Ariana wasn't her friend, which we know, even though they hung out literally all the time.
Yeah,
Um, Lala says she doesn't like when the quote female who was in the situation with the man begins targeting other women who had her back. Again, it's such an ick. Don't call us females. Don't call us a chicks. Like we're good. Anyway, Katie says like yeah, but Rachel isn't taking accountability for anything,
mhm.
which brings Schwartz to say he's so mad at Rachel because she's not a victim, and how dare she come at Sandoval. And Sandoval's like, yeah, we were equal partners. And I'm like, oh, one thing about shitty men is they'll always stick together.
Oh my God.
So Rachel is suing Ariana and Sandoval for revenge porn. They can't technically talk about it, but Scheana says it wasn't true. It's ridiculous that Rachel is doing this to Ariana.
Mm-hmm.
Ariana's like, it's actually insane because I've never done anything to her, and she keeps doing things to hurt me. Which I was like, wow, that hit hard. Like
Yeah,
she was just this woman's friend, and she hooks up with her boyfriend, and then like tries to
and
make
then
Ariana the
sues
villain, and
her.
then sues her. It just oh
There was just so much so quickly, like that happened, and then the fact that Rachel filed the lawsuit on the last day she could file it because it has a what's that called? Whenever you can like only like I forget what like criminal stuff is where you can only like sue someone for a certain amount of times after it happens, basically, or like press charges. It's truly insane that she waited so long to do this if this was such a priority for her.
yeah.
And that like yeah, she's like going after Ariana. Like them talking about Rachel's lawsuit, that it did kind of like unite everyone together a little bit. And then I was like, no, no, we are not all one. Like we are not on the same page. We're not all friends here.
I just okay. I'm gonna try really hard not to get mad at like this
Oh,
episode,
I'm
but I'm
already
getting
on. And
mad.
I also, we know that they're about to watch the last like 7 minutes of the show. And I keep wondering, like, when are they going to do that? And then halfway through this episode, I was like, it's going to be the last thing.
I keep wondering, is the last 7 minutes the same 7 minutes we got, or was it re-edited once they saw where the season was going?
Mm.
So I
I
don't
don't
know.
think that they watch any of the footage or like the ending, I'll call it. So like they have no idea how this ended. In the way, I don't know if you saw in the preview that like Lala like pointed to Ariana when they were like walking out there, like, you ready for this? Like got your back or
Yeah,
something. And I'm like, you're such a
one of
fake
these,
friend.
one of these like once we go out there, it's
Yeah.
you and me, baby.
And
Yeah,
I
no,
was like,
fuck
it
you.
is not. You don't know, Ariana, that that is not your friend. So I'm
No.
like, anything Lala does, I'm like, shut up. You're such a
Right.
liar.
So back to the revenge porn. Sandoval says it's one thing to go after him, but to go after Ariana,
Oh my God.
unforgivable. It's like Rachel doesn't even have a soul.
I can't believe Rachel would like
Who
hurt Ariana.
who could hurt Ariana, you know? And Katie confirms. Katie's like she doesn't have a soul. And then James is like, I'm over talking about Rachel. Why are we still giving her the time of day? And everyone's like, well, you brought her into this group. And James was like, sorry.
I mean,
Poor
how
James.
embarrassing. That's
I
my worst
know.
nightmare. If my friends were
That's
like, oh,
when you bring a
I'm so
friend.
sorry I brought her in.
I told you I brought a friend to a Halloween party once, and someone was like, "Who the fuck invited her?" And I was like, "Oh, it was me." Oh
You're like,
no.
that's, sometimes I'm so scared to introduce like other friends that are not initially in the same friend group. I'm like, because if this goes bad, then you're ruining my reputation.
My mom told me never to invite this girl again,
Oh my God,
never, and I
good.
never. And I was like, "Good advice, mom," because I'm not. Okay, so then Sandoval had told Lisa after the affair he was having suicidal thoughts. He now is having his ups and downs because whatever he says or does is scrutinized. And Lala's was angry at Sandoval, but Lala also didn't want to be responsible if something were to happen to him, which Sheena agrees with because she lost someone to suicide before and she wasn't exactly
Mm-hmm.
supportive in the last conversation she had with that person. So she didn't want to have to do it again. And then Ariana's like, look, I wasn't coming after him. So
No.
what he was going through wasn't something I created. However, after the last reunion, he weaponized my mental health. So like, I don't want to be a
Mm-hmm.
part of saving his mental health, which I think is fucking fair.
Oh my God, absolutely. And then in this conversation, he talks about how like, and he did it in the like finale, like that's why he couldn't break up with Ariana, quote unquote. Like he weaponizes her mental health and his for always for his benefit. Like I truly do believe like the pressure in the media and like everything like was a lot for him, and like that is not easy, and like I don't envy being in his position, but I do feel like he weaponizes it and wants sympathy, and so like he'll do anything. Like I do believe it's true, but I just think he's also using what he's going through to manipulate people to feel bad for him while also not giving other people that respect.
I think I'm a bad person because I think it's just I think he's sad and I think he's frustrated and I think he
Yeah.
could be very like in a way depressed. But I do think the and even if he was this sounds terrible. Even if he was suicidal, the way it came up was very gimmicky to me. The
Yes.
way he said it, I didn't believe it. The way he lost it on Lisa,
I
it
agree.
just seemed so even if you were, it just seemed gimmicky to me. Like it
It's but
seemed
you're
like
using it
you're
against
using it.
people.
Yeah,
And that's what's frustrating is, only he knows what's going on in his head, and like I'm not here to, you know, mince words about like what he's thinking and feeling and stuff like that, but it's what he chooses to do about that. Like I really do think it's like such a scary thing. Like Scheana like was talking about like losing someone and like that's a lot to live with. And so I totally understand like asking like Lala and Scheana to like cool it on their podcast. Like let's stop adding to like the
the
fanfare
fire.
of it all. Yeah, and like let's get back to normal and like yes, treating him like a human being and like having productive conversations one on one with him. Um but like that doesn't mean we all need to be best friends either because guess what, like me being your friend is not going to cure your depression either. Like you need to seek actual
I think that was
resources.
it. He wanted everyone to just like him again, and then that would cure it. And he didn't have to go see any therapist or do any
Yeah,
work on himself. Like
like I
it's so
think that would have
good.
been a really big time to actually be able to have a productive conversation about like depression, anxiety, whatever he was feeling and like working through that. And like he kept saying like he's changed and he's better, and he did it at the start of the season when he did an interview with like Nick. And but it's like what have you actually done? Like why didn't we walk that path of like what the real path of redemption could be? And like because he didn't do any of it.
Like nothing.
I don't think you
Yeah.
should put
So
therapy
that's why it was gimmicky. He
on the
didn't do
show, but
anything about it.
I often talk to my friends and my family about like what my therapist recommends to me. So like those are natural conversations of like not necessarily recording your therapy, but like talking about what you're doing to try and like help yourself like
It was
feel
just
better.
because he did nothing to help himself, it seemed gimmicky.
Yeah. No,
That was
I
my
agree.
issue. Anyway, Sandoval's like, how did I weaponize Ariana's suicidal thoughts? And then Sheena, of course, is like, we talked about this, Tom. We already talked
Oh,
about it. Which,
Sheena, come
as
on.
as flip floppy as Sheena is, she was like a little snappy towards him. She was like, we already did it. We
Well,
talked.
I wonder if her also
She tries her
watching this
best.
show as it's like gone on has like seen how shitty Sandoval is at times. That like it is a lot for show. Like I wonder what has happened since filming wrapped and this reunion happened. Like where their relationship truly has been in the last few months. We saw at BravoCon they hung out. Like
Mhm.
where does she stand now with them? And not post reunion. I mean right before the reunion films because I
Oh,
think a lot has
that's
changed since
true.
the reunion too.
Yeah, where are they at the reunion time? Yeah.
Mhm.
So Sandoval says he brought Ariana's suicidal thoughts up because he
Mhm.
felt that it was used as a weapon against him, a manipulation tactic. And he hates to say it. And I go, then don't say it. And everyone else
I
too was like, don't, and because Lisa jumps in and she goes, it's very different. Okay. Like when you talk about your thoughts of suicide, you're putting yourself out there. Like
yeah.
Ariana didn't have that choice. You did it for her without her consent.
Yeah, like you had a private one-on-one conversation with her, and then you chose to put that on the television show. And then you got to choose to put your own mental health journey on the show. Like, but can you imagine if somebody else outed him? That would be, and he would lose it.
Unforgivable for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that he also is like, oh, Ariana was using it as a manipulation tactic to stay with me. Then why should I believe that yours is real?
That's what I'm saying. It's like she's manipulative, but like we can't ever say yours is. Like we
They
all
do
have
the
to say
same thing.
yours is
And he's
real,
like, yeah, they're doing the same thing. And he's like, but mine's right
but
and
mine's
hers is
real.
wrong.
But I
Yeah.
know hers is wrong because like she's manipulating me. Well, why aren't you manipulating me?
I could talk it all day. There's nothing more than gets me so mad if people like
Because he does
weaponizing mental health.
he
Oh
yeah,
my
but
God.
he does this like, oh, mine's different with
Yeah.
everything, and
My
that's what I'm
situation's
tired
different.
about.
My cheating
Mm-hmm.
situation's different. The way I am mean to women is different. The way I use my mental health is different.
Like, I deserve the house, like, because like
That's
it's my
different than
house.
Jack's. That's
Yeah,
different than Schwartz. Yeah.
yeah.
Remember when he had that moment where he was like, as a cis male, I can't
Oh my
yell at
god,
women.
a
Oh, but
cis white male.
if James yelled at a woman, he'd be like, James, that's not cool. But like Sandoval
Yeah,
can yell at women because it's just Katie, you know? Like,
yeah.
fuck that bitch, you know?
Well, he would say he's not yelling at her. Like, that doesn't count. Or that
No,
Katie
and
yelled
as
first.
a cis white male, he can't. Like, but women can yell
Ah,
at men, which is crazy to him.
male
It's really
rage
giving that
goes
cheap
unchecked.
sticker that told women to just give up their college degrees.
Well, my life hasn't started
Ah!
yet, so what do I know?
I can't wait to root against the Chiefs this year. Sorry,
Why
Taylor.
why is everything in Missouri? I mean, Missouri already had its problems, but like, why is Missouri really going downhill the last few?
Also, he quoted Taylor Swift. She needs to sue him
No, no, no.
immediately.
Didn't even call her name out. His teammate's girlfriend.
He's such a dick. Anyway, so
My
Lala
God.
says, "Look, Sandoval, Ariana confided in you and you put it all out there." And Sandoval's like, "That's because I didn't believe it." And Lala goes, "Well, now you know how it feels to be
Hmm.
suicidal. So believe it, baby." And
Honestly,
Sandoval says there were four other things that were said. And both Lala and Lisa are like, it doesn't matter. Literally, none of
shut
it
the
matters.
fuck
Shut the
up.
fuck up. And this is where Lala fucking finally goes, you need to stop fixating on how situations with everyone else are different and you can make it not apply
Hmm.
to you then.
Yep.
That's what he does. It's like, oh, it doesn't apply to me because I was wearing a red shirt and Jax was wearing a blue shirt.
Yeah,
So it's
he'll find
actually different.
every excuse for in his favor for like why other people are bad and his does isn't the same, or like why it's acceptable for him to do something, and that's why it's just like he as a person is nails on a chalkboard to me. Like, everything he does is annoying. He's never real. He's never supportive of people unless it benefits him. Like, I'm it's becoming painful to watch this.
It's insane.
Like, I hate life.
Yeah, every time I watch it, I'm angry, and it's always in the fucking mornings. I want everyone to know this is how I start my morning every fucking week. Anyway, okay, so Scheana is like, if you want to call bullshit on Ariana, right? If you want to say you're using your mental health as a manipulation tactic, you should have just left.
Oh my
You shouldn't have
god.
cheated
Yeah.
on her. You should have just fucking leave and then see what happens, you know?
Why
But
didn't
you're
you
not
just
gonna
walk
call
out the
bullshit.
door? Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck?
You
And
If you really thought it wasn't real, then why did you stay?
then then Sandoval goes, okay, but, and she goes, there's no but. The sentence is over. I think he
I
just annoys them. Like, I think Sheena wants to be friends with him, but then he says shit and she's like, no, I'm annoyed.
That's the thing. Scheana like has, I think, very natural emotions where she like really likes him at times, and she does see that glimmer of the person she's known for a while, but there's always been things that do bother her and she will actively call them out. Whereas like I feel like Lala just wants to be mad at Ariana, and so she has joined the other side
She's
of
just
the
jealous.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
she's
So,
over Ariana like being the queen of the show, and so what can she do? She has to, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
mhm. Yes.
So,
Oh my God. I do think Sheena too is just, I always stick up for Sheena, but she's just overly emotional where like
yeah,
anyone could be like, I'm sad. And she'd be like, I'll be friends with you now that you're sad, you
that's the
know?
thing. I think
Like
I think
Rachel
Sheena's
could show
easily
up.
manipulated.
Yeah. Rachel
Yes.
could show up and be like, I'm homeless. And Sheena would be like,
That
I
one
hate
might be
you, but
too
come into my
far
home.
because of the restraining order whole situation. Like, if you've really done
That's true.
Sheena wrong, she does have a line, but
That's true. The only
but
two people Sheena will care about if you hurt is herself and Summer Moon. So,
yeah,
but like Sandoval unfollowed Summer Moon. So, like, why isn't Sheena more mad, you know?
I think she can
That's a
talk herself out of
crime.
it because it's not like permanent or something so
He
grand,
can
like such an
refollow.
action. He can
He
talk
can
himself
always
out of it.
refollow. So, Lisa told Sandoval to repair the relationships um, with everyone, and to do that, you need to be sensitive, or you need sensitivity and contrition. And
Two
Lisa's
things he
like,
does not have.
yeah, Lisa's like, I saw it, but then he'd say the word but all the fucking time. So like it negated it. And Sandoval's like, I don't actually say I'm sorry, but. And
Alicia, I was so
Andy goes,
mad they didn't pull the
yeah, you
receipts
do.
because we have so many apologies
So
where he
many.
does.
Well, Andy goes, yeah, you do. Like, you just, we all see it. And Andy says, oh, this is what, he's like, there have been a ton of lies in this group. But so like Sandoval just wants to point that out. It just doesn't go his way. And Sandoval's like, yeah, and in the past, I never attacked others for their choices. And then we get the
Oh,
montage of like, do you feel this? And he's just a battered wife. And then he yelled at Katie last season because he's a cis male. And then he yelled at Lala and Scheana this season. And there's a lot of yelling that this man does.
Oh my God, yeah. And I honestly don't think that they would have clipped that in had the audience really voiced their opinions on how they feel about like Scheana, Lala, Sandoval, just the whole situation.
Also, I might sneeze. Sorry, guys, it's allergies. Anyway, Katie's like, all we do is hear you scream about like accountability. So I don't know how, like, you scream it. So like you do attack us. And Lala says, you can't say how you've come forward when you're wrong all the time. And then Sandoval's like, well, I never did a podcast about your breakup. And I'm like, it's the nuances. You talk shit about it just because it wasn't fucking recorded.
He wants an award for like not going on a podcast and shit talking people, but like we are presently talking about how you yell at women. What does doing a podcast about Lala's like breakup matter? I understand that upset you, so like have a conversation with your like I'll call them coworkers about like how that hurts your feelings. But no, you don't know how to have a conversation. Like you just scream and yell at these people.
You just scream, you yell, just because someone didn't go on a podcast to talk. Like, you do shitty things just because it's not the exact shitty thing that other
You are
people have
not
done to
the
you.
dictator of what is shitty and what is right and what is wrong and like what is
Yes.
okay. Like what's
Oh
an
my
okay
God.
way to be mad at someone?
I know. So Andy's like, okay, Sandoval, like we all saw you try to move forward and you would take like 2 steps forward and then 10 steps back, especially when you compared your situation to
Oh my
George
God.
Floyd and OJ Simpson, which
So
also wild
bad.
because those two have nothing to do with each other. Like, in case you guys live under a rock, OJ Simpson was a almost convicted murderer of his
Mhm.
wife, but then he got out because the glove didn't fit, so you can't acquit, kind of thing. But he probably did it in the public's eye, at least my own opinion. He's dead now. Anyway, so and then George Floyd was wrongly
Murdered
murdered by a cop
cops. Yeah.
who like basically cut off his air supply and did
Yeah.
not move or help him as people were screaming. So like very different. One's
Very
a social
different.
justice issue and the other's a murder. Well, they're both murders, but one's a murder trial and the other's a social justice murder that we must
But
talk about.
also, like, Sandoval's the one who keeps saying, like, I'm not a murderer. And then he has compared himself to 3
To
murders because Scott Peterson also was
Scott
brought up
Peterson,
during this season.
who
Like,
killed his wife, his pregnant fucking wife.
I'm like,
What?
you don't, if other people called you like that or like compared you to those things, he would
I'm actually
absolutely
not.
lose it.
So he um basically it's like, why should we believe you've grown when this is the shit you fucking say?
Yeah.
And
Well, they're like,
Sandoval's like,
we'll give you a minute to talk about it. And he's like, why are we talking about
should I do a
this?
sales pitch on myself? Yeah, bitch, at this point,
No,
fucking defend yourself.
I'm like, this is embarrassing. They're literally propping you up to say, hey, I'm sorry that I should have never compared myself to those situations. That's all. That's all we
Also,
needed. And he's like, what do you want me to say?
well, Andy's like, your PR person, like, this is first of all, that article is terrible. Second
Oh
of
my
all, like,
God.
you you should just shut the fuck up in public.
It's
Ideally,
so bad how much Bravo gets involved because I'm pretty sure that like the George Floyd and OJ comparison article, Bravo was contacted and tried to like clean things up too. Like this is the guy you
it's
picked.
embarrassing. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing. This is the person you hitched your wagon to this season. This This was it? Okay.
Oh God.
So James of all people is like, watch what you say, don't make it worse. As he
Yeah.
has fat shamed multiple people. Just don't make it worse, you know? Um, so Sandoval says he's not defending anything he said. He was just talking about how crazy the scandal was. And it was like in the news and stuff. Like he can't believe the scandal was talked about on CNN when there's a war in Ukraine. And I was like, sir, don't bring up
That's
the war now.
well, I'm like, there are words for this. You just said that. Like, what? Why did you
There
need to
you
make a
go.
comparison? Did we have
There you go.
a
Seems like a
vast
waste of
English
news.
language? You can
A waste of
easily
news.
use those words.
Yeah, you honestly could have used it for good. You could have been like, instead of talking about my scandal, we should bring attention to the war overseas that's happening, to Black
Mm-hmm.
Lives Matter, to,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever, to
Yep.
women being murdered by their husbands. Like, let's talk
Yeah.
about like problems out there. But no, you're like, I am just like OJ Simpson and George Floyd.
I can't believe, like, everybody knows my name, like George Floyd. I'm like, no, no, no.
Oh my God. Oh, it just gets worse.
Yeah.
So Lala goes, I get what you're saying now. Like, but you have to understand the scandal had to be talked about. It's pop culture. Like people
Yes.
love pop culture. Sorry
I
about it.
hated where he was like this. I mean, okay, there
It's
is
clickbait.
news, like wars and everything need to be covered, but
Yes.
like we have gone
Famine. Yeah.
into a moment in life where like all these shows are talked about. It is pop culture news. Like should it be on CNN? Probably not. But if they mention it once or twice, like I mean, I don't watch CNN, so like I don't know how much coverage Sandoval got, but when it's freaking breaking the internet, that is news. Like the amount of coverage it's getting from people on TikTok and like everything coming out ends up being news because it's about like
Yeah.
what society is doing.
And the news like casts in the newspapers and like the articles, they make their money on people watching them or
Yes.
reading it. So if I like, okay, hypothetically, I'm not interested in real news, but I'm interested in this, so I'm gonna watch
Yep.
all of it just to get my bit. That's why people watch Good Morning America. It's like pop
I know.
culture moments, right? Like
Every
it's just
media organization, I mean, I work in media, it's all about getting clicks. So they're going to do whatever they can to get viewers. And guess what? Your scandal, it probably brought new viewership to CNN. So it was a great marketing ploy by them.
also, I don't really know, but okay, so first Anderson Cooper is on CNN.
Hmm.
He is CNN and he's good friends with Andy.
Yeah.
Doesn't his family like own, I could be wrong. His family might not own part of CNN or is like big
No,
players in it.
he was a Vanderbilt, and so he has just
Oh,
like a lot of like
that's it.
society stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Nepo baby. But basically, Anderson Cooper is connected in Bravo. He's been on Watch What Happens Live. So if any news station's gonna pick it up, it's fucking
That's
CNN.
so true. That I
Like
if anybody's gonna do it, give me Anderson Cooper.
I wish Anderson Cooper had just walked in and was like, I had to talk about it. The war in Ukraine was
You
very
know
sad
what?
and this was hilarious. Yeah.
He really should have done his 60 minutes segment on Sandoval. Like, can you imagine if his like section on it that week had been Sandoval? That would have been wild. I would have watched.
I would too. I watched all of it. Anyway, so no one read the New York Times article except Andy, to which he was like, you should fire your publicist and like get your life together. And
Alicia,
then,
did you see that? Like, it had to be a fake news or like news headline where it was like reality TV or unemployed man can't afford like New York Times subscription, and it was basically like calling out Brock because he's like, I don't read that. I don't have this subscription.
yeah, what is it? $9? Crazy. It could fucking
Oh my
never.
gosh.
So Katie, though, eloquent, intelligent, beautiful Katie, says there's there's a saying, it's or intent versus impact, right? It doesn't
Hmm.
matter how you meant it, but what matters is the impact made. So you need to watch what you say,
Yeah.
right? Like I could not mean something, but I could hurt someone's feelings or say something stupid or like something along those lines. So it is.
Hmm.
So Sandoval can't sit here and be like, what I did shouldn't have affected the world. It fucking did. So like your
I
intent was to just, I guess, make out with Raquel once in a while, but your impact was you lost your relationship, you lost your house, you lost your friends, and the whole world fucking hates you. So like, be careful. And now you're comparing yourself to George Floyd. So
Yeah,
yeah, fuck
and when
you,
you like
honestly.
screw up and people say they're mad, why don't you just like either learn something and like if you can just give a whole heart apology right then and there, that's great. If not, if you need to learn about why people are upset, then like take some time to understand. I mean, I think we are in a big like rage culture where we just love to get mad at everything. Like we all went overboard. I'm willing to say that because like this was just a stupid affair, but guess what? We have not a lot going on and we want to put all of our thoughts to not the horrible things like the war in Ukraine. We want to latch onto this like little blip in time and we constantly move through cycles of like random things happening.
It was
And
also
so
just
it's
like the perfect timing. We're in the
yeah.
middle of this season. Where if it had happened after
Mhm.
the reunion, I'd be like, oh, you know, ooh.
That's the thing. I think the storm would have passed so much quicker if it had been not during the season, the reunion was over, all of that stuff.
Like, sorry.
It is
Well,
what
who
it
cares?
is.
Anyway, so Lala does say, for the sake of the show, could you stop talking to people?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Shut
show's
up.
dead. Show's dead, baby, but shut the fuck up anyway, you know?
Oh my God.
So, congrats to Lala. She's pregnant with a baby boy,
Girl.
girl. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. Anyway, the part it was the donor that we chose at the party. They're picking names. She doesn't really know what's gonna go with Ocean because Ocean's just like so powerful. And they're like, what about Lake? And she's like, no, that would be like that's less powerful than an ocean.
I
And
mean, it
then
is true. I never really thought about
yeah,
that. Like, she loves how
agreed.
powerful, like, Ocean is, that
Ocean.
you need something that sounds good with it and kind of brings that
You
power.
got
Because,
Ocean, you got Summer Moon. What's next? You got
yeah.
Cruise.
Did you catch that her due date is September 1st? I was like, they are not going to be
Yeah.
filming that.
No, absolutely not. Fuck you. But then Sandoval's like, what about Drive? Like Ocean Drive. And I was like, that's stupid. Don't
I
name
was
your
like,
kid
why the
that.
fuck are we pitching baby names? I don't care about this.
What ever happened to like, I don't know, a Jake or a Sarah? Like Jesus Christ. You know? What about
I cannot
Alicia? Think about
imagine
it.
being a school teacher these days with these like Brelands and the
Ocean
like.
Moon? Is there an Ocean Moon here? Or a Summer
Uh,
Moon? Doesn't even matter. The fuck.
Well, Scheana did that TikTok where she was like Ocean and Summer
Summer is starting
Moon,
preschool with Ocean this
Ocean and
summer.
Summer.
What? Yeah, so I want Sheena to have a second kid because what season will she pick next? There's only three.
Well, there's only two because Brock already has a daughter, Winter.
You're right. It could only be well, she could do autumn,
Autumn,
fall. Well,
spring.
autumn would be too normal. It has to be spring. Autumn's already a name of some sort.
So with spring,
Oh, you're right. Well, I only know of your friend Spring.
I think fall would be the best then.
Fall.
Mhm.
That's rough.
That's rough.
She might have to
No
do like
thanks.
lunar eclipse. Cause moon, lunar,
Little tag
and then
team,
you
lunar something.
ooh, what if she did that? Like so you know the game connect or like chain reaction. So like
Yeah.
summer, moon, and then you go lunar, and then you say something
Yep.
else that then connects to like
I like
lunar
that.
sweater and then shirt, I don't know,
I'm not
chicken
the
nugget,
more
you know, and you can go
chicken nugget, the more you say lunar, the more I'm like, I kind of like this name.
Sheena, you're welcome. Honestly, Lala, you can take Lunar too. It doesn't matter. So Ocean is very excited to be a big sister. We talk about how her and Randall's custody agreement is still happening, and Lala doesn't really
Messy.
see an end. She doesn't even know what like the custody agreement. What do I
What
say?
he wants. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
that's messy. I don't I do feel bad for her when it comes to just
I
like
do too.
the
But then
breakup of
fucking
Randall and
Lisa.
stuff.
Lisa just runs out of things to say. She's like, why are you so emotional right now? And I'm like, what? She's talking about how she's fighting with her ex husband who fucking cheated on her for her kid's time. What do you mean, why is
Yeah.
she fucking
I do
emotional?
think it's really sweet that her and Randall's ex-wife like are
Our
friends and
friends.
like
I love that.
make their daughters the like priorities to have a relationship. But yeah, her situation's messy and I feel for her on it. But she brings nothing else to the show. Like,
Yeah.
why
And,
are we
you
talking about
know,
her custody agreement? We never talked about that this season.
well, Did you know that now that she's pregnant, men are knocking at her door, which is gross. They just have a breeding fetish, I'm sure.
I,
Ugh.
that is so weird to me. That like she's
Those
getting
are the
hit on
men,
so much.
the traditional men that women should be pregnant. That's when they're at their most attractive.
Ugh. That well,
I know both of us are like, ew.
her life has started because she's a mom, but I guess maybe she doesn't count because she's not married.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's really important. That's Summer Moon, a fucking star to be
I was
born.
pumped. I'm like, here we go. Give me. I'm that girl's biggest fan after
I
the
like
end of the
that
season.
everyone has reacted to Summer Moon the way we have, you know?
Well,
Like, I'm glad it's a
listen.
point.
At the start of the season, I was definitely not on the summer moon train.
I
I was
was.
annoyed with the like stupid Instagram blocking, but you know
No,
what?
I
That
was
girl's
there.
fucking cute.
She's a cute kid, right?
She's
Like,
so
they're
cute.
so cute. She doesn't give a fuck.
No.
She's just savage. My favorite was when Schwartz showed up with a hat and she was like, I don't want it. And
I
Brock
know.
made her wear it anyway and she just sat
Yeah.
there with it. That's the best. It's
Mhm.
like any other kid would cry and be like, no, I don't want it. Summer just
Yeah.
fucking sat there and was like,
Like
this sucks.
mean mugs him.
Yeah, this stupid white guys here giving me fucking hats and shit. So, Summer Moon is 3. They still have Gabby the nanny sometimes, along with
Oh my god.
Erica, and Brock will take what he can get. We talk about Sheena's postpartum OCD, which I wish we had just focused. This should have been Sheena's whole ass storyline because I was
I
interested
mean,
because I also didn't know this was a thing.
I know they kicked it off at the beginning of the season
It
discussing it,
was
and I was like,
great.
love watch. I
Great.
mean, I hate that she has it, but I love finding out more about this. And then even in
Educate us.
this reunion, I'm like, why the fuck are we wasting time on stupid ass shit? Let's talk about Scheana and Brock's nanny and the OCD and like where are
Yes.
we at?
Okay, because so postpartum depression is when after having your child, you're just very sad. You're not like it's very hard to parent. You don't find the motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Postpartum OCD, it sounds like you have intrusive thoughts and you always see worst
Yeah.
case scenario playing out in your mind. So like my husband doesn't love me anymore, so he's gonna cheat with my best friend, and that's the end. Or like we're
Yeah.
going on
Or
a
like
car
my
ride and
baby's
I'm gonna
gonna
get in a crash.
die.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
gonna crash and I'm gonna die and then my baby's gonna die and it's gonna be crazy. Or I die and then
Mm-hmm.
I orphan my kid. You know, like you see the worst case, which is
Like
terrible
so
because
many
that's
sad things.
I already have that. Every time I leave the house, I'm like, what could happen? Do I have OCD? No, I think I'm dramatic. Anyway, so
Well, I think we typically think of OCD as like, somebody needs to turn a knob
one,
7
two, three,
times
four.
to be able
Yeah.
to, yeah, like move forward with their day. And like, I've never really thought about it just, I mean, the name of it, compulsive, obsessive compulsive disorder. I always just assumed it was very tangible with like things you were doing, not just thoughts running in your mind.
Yeah, but wild, intrusive thoughts. That has to be terrible, especially with a kid. Like if I have this, it's just me, you know? A
Yeah, yeah.
kid, crazy. So Sheena also talks about how she does have a fear that like Brock and Lala are going to get together, which is probably a mix of the OCD and what happened with Sandoval because
Hmm.
that was very triggered, right? Like if Sandoval and Rachel could do it, Sheena's like anyone could fucking do it.
I would not be okay if I was like adjacent in this friend group and this happened. Like, I would not be
And you
okay.
have OCD like this. And
And
then, and
you're in a
wait,
unique situation with Lala and Brock where like they are very close. Like in theory,
they're a
if
throuple.
somebody, yes, if somebody was going to do this next in the group, like it would kind of they have the setup for it.
Well, guys, I watched the shenanigans and I've all or the pod
Hmm. The
vlog whatever she does.
vlogs.
And I've always said I love how Brock like very much is a father figure to Ocean in a way. I love
Hmm.
that it's always the three of them. I think it's very cute how they like live next door like a commune. I think it's cute. But now if I'm Sheena, I'm like, oh my God. And then you live in the comment section and you're
I
like,
know.
everyone's like, did you see the way Brock looked at Sheena? And you're like, oh my God. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, Brock and Sheena did look at each other
And they
weird.
made that
Or Brock
joke,
and Lala or
Lala.
whatever.
And
Yeah.
they made that joke that like would just reaffirm it in my brain, even though it was a
Oh my.
joke. Uh,
If,
terrifying.
if Ocean ever accidentally calls Brock Dada, I'm fucking out. I'm out if I'm Sheena. I'm immediately losing my mind.
Honestly, it's Summer calling Lala
Could
accidentally mom would
oh
be
my God.
even more terrifying.
Could you imagine, like, okay, because we're women that live alone. Like, we're in a house, let's say our best friend and her fiance, husband, whatever, right next door. There's like a bug or something, or I hear a noise. I would totally
Yeah.
text my friend and her
Oh,
fiance and be like, can you come check this out? Imagine if you're Sheena. No, you can't go over there at night. You can't go over there at all without me.
That's the thing.
Every
It's
time.
like, I mean, there's always this like level of respect that you give to like your friends, like boyfriends, fiancés, husbands, where you just like don't ever get like too close to them. Because your primary friend is usually your girlfriend. Like sometimes, obviously, if you have the male friendship first, that's a
Yeah.
whole different
Oh, yeah,
dynamic.
you're right.
But if you meet the guy through, your girlfriend, it's just always something I'm always like, yeah, no, we don't need to be like besties. Like, it's cool.
Yeah. But if I have a spider, I'm gonna be like, come over and fucking kill it. I'm not gonna ask my friend to come
I
kill it.
know, but that's a proximity thing though too. Like, because anybody I know around me, like, I would ask them to help me. But yeah, I
But
mean, if
cheating
there's,
can also be proximate. It's so
yeah.
crazy. So I get where Sheena's coming from, and this is why Meredith and I might be undiagnosed a little OCD. But anyway, Lala says all she can do is promise that would never happen. But she is grateful that Brock has stepped up to the plate when she hasn't had men around. But I think now it
Hmm.
does help that Lala has her mom and her brother in town
Yeah. I
to
think
help.
that
So
shift the dynamic a little bit, so it's not
yeah,
just the three of them, and like, like let's say Sheena goes and gets like a glass of water, and it's like she's not watching just the two of them like in a living
yeah,
room.
yeah. So blessed for Scheana. Anyway, Brock and Scheana actually went to Australia. They did not see Brock's kids while they were there because the kids, they're a little older, I believe, and they
Yeah,
haven't expressed that they want a relationship with Brock. So Brock is respecting that and he's
I'm
communicating with
happy
his
he is.
ex-wife about like what to do, but she has said
Hmm.
they haven't expressed it, and he's like, okay, fair. Um, to then Andy is like, is Summer Moon your second chance at being a dad? Never forget when Sheena said that. And we all went, ooh,
I'm like, stop phrasing it like this. This is not gonna help him. Like, I kind
with
of feel
his
like they're,
kids.
yeah, they're setting
With
him up
his
for
kids.
failure because like
Yeah,
Sheena's the one who said it the first time, and now Andy's pushing this again. Like, oh, are you happy you like actually get to be a dad now? And it's like,
like
it kind of
that.
shifts blame onto those kids for like not wanting him in their life.
Yeah, I don't love it. Anyway, Brock gets very emotional. Everyone actually gets very, very
Hmm.
emotional. Brock says he does feel like this is a second chance. He really does want Summer Moon to get the chance to meet her siblings. Sheena feels like Brock probably has some guilt too because he wasn't there for the other kids. And I was like, yeah, that's probably
Hmm.
the whole fucking thing he's feeling.
Yeah.
And Katie actually says he it's incredible watching him with Summer Moon, and it makes Katie eat her own words about how Brock wasn't a good dad because she did
Yeah.
say that at one point. And
I
Katie says,
appreciated that because I
"Yeah,
think he has come a long way, and I think that is like such a thing of his journey, like on the show,
I agree."
is like him being a dad, and like I sometimes catch his like stories and stuff that he's like fixing up their house, and it is really cute. I think he is a doting father, but
I think so
that
too.
is a piece
I
he
think
needs to
he
fix.
was,
Like he made mistakes in the past. That doesn't mean he's going to be a bad father to
yeah,
like his, I'll say, second level of kids, like between
yeah.
the first marriage and this one. But
It's obviously no excuse. He was definitely
yeah,
young and stupid, and we know men don't have that many brain cells. So he was like, I'll
yes.
leave and try my life in America. And the kids were probably pissed he
Hmm.
abandoned them, which
Oh
I would get.
yeah.
And then I do think now that he sees the error of his ways, he wants to make it better. He wants to really try with Summer Moon to be like, that will never happen again. And I
Yeah.
think it also helps having Ocean around because he gets to like show his love that way too. Um,
Hmm.
and I do think what he did is shitty. I understand why those kids don't want a relationship, but I do think
Yeah.
he's grown a lot.
I
And I think he's
agree.
paying for the consequences, right? His kids don't want a relationship with him. That's his consequence for
He
doing
has to
what
live
he
with
did.
that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Katie says she's a harsh judge of character. It's a protection thing for herself and her friends. But Brock has proved he's an amazing father. Which I was like, Sheena, you
Hmm.
should be honored that Katie was like really worried about you enough to judge fucking Brock.
Yeah.
You're
That's
welcome.
true. That's
Yeah,
true.
you're
Her
welcome.
judgments, like her judgments,
Was for Katie or
is
was
for
for
your
Sheena.
best benefit. Yeah.
I don't know anyone's names. Have you noticed I keep messing everyone's names up?
It's,
Anyway,
well, it's
they
all the
all look the
people.
same.
I was about to say there's two people I like and a lot of people I don't.
They all look the same. I have no idea. They might as well be blonde women that I can't tell apart.
Honestly, yeah, blonde women
Truly,
with a
they're all
J.
white. And if anything, I have trouble telling the white people apart. So I say that as a Guatemalan woman. So half white.
I laugh at that as a white woman.
Anyway, so Ariana bounced back from a breakup to the top of the world. She's got a new
Mm-hmm.
man. She's got her Chicago show. She's got her sandwich shop. When she's in New York, she's not living with Dan, but she sees him a lot, so that's fun.
I actually like that
Um,
they live separately. Like, I just feel
I do
like that
too.
anchors Ariana to continue to be like, not that she isn't an independent woman if she has a boyfriend, but I want her to have space to like figure out her life, even if she is in a relationship.
Yeah, I do. Everyone who said like, "Oh, one day it's gonna really hit her," the emotions. I think she's
Ugh.
processing them slowly, right? Like
Yeah.
she has Dan as support, but she's not living with him. She's not. She's bi-coastal with him, if anything. So she spends a lot of time alone, and I'm sure she does process this
Mm-hmm.
shit in
I know
her
they
own
all
fucking
act
way.
like she just slotted like Dan in right where Sandoval was. And it's like, no, like you had a 10-year relationship where like it was not in the best place. And so you were like mourning with the relationship. This
During it, yeah.
crazy thing happened and it completely shifted it. And she found someone who like excited her. Like when I love in this segment where she talks about like, because they talk about Dan and everything. And she's like, why would I wait to be healed? You know, like he's a really great guy. So like I'm gonna figure those out, both these things out at the same time. I'm gonna start a new relationship and like process everything because we're all processing things every single
Differently.
day.
Yeah. So we talk about how Lala was questioning Dan's motives with Ariana. Lala says she likes Dan. He's been nothing but lovely, and he
Mm-hmm.
acknowledges Ocean through the DMs, which I
Stop.
also like. Lisa was like, "What does that fucking mean?" Who cares if Dan's messaging you through the DMs like, "Oh, Ocean's cute"? I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Okay." She's like, "I don't even know him," and I'm like, "So why is a strange man commenting on your daughter?"
And why are
Right?
you bringing it up? Like
It
this
was
is.
all weird.
I feel like Lala's trying to prove like she's friends with them a
I
little
like
bit,
Dan. I'm
and I'm like,
supportive of Ariana.
you're not her friend. Like, why do you
Yeah.
need to like? I think Lala is so fucking fake.
I agree.
It
So,
it annoys me.
did the relationship with Dan hinder her morning loss with Sandoval? And Ariana says it will be a long time before she processes everything, and she doesn't want to put herself on hold while she fucking processes it. And I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, if it's gonna take me 10 years to process something, I'm not just not
Yeah.
gonna live my life.
Am I not going to date for 10 years?
I
I,
say as I delete all my dating apps and
oh,
refuse to date anyone ever.
okay, but if
I'm
we
going
met
to
like a
Italy this
Dan,
summer. Yeah.
like, come on.
Listen, Dan hits me up. I'm
I'm in.
in. I don't care. Yeah, I'm in with men. So, James says he had a very similar situation with Allie, right? He met Allie 2 months after his end engagement with Rachel. Um, and he says it was different for him because after the breakup, people chose to support Rachel instead of him. But now he's over it
Oh.
anyway. And then it becomes madness. I have no idea what they're talking about. Honestly, it just seems like James isn't mad at Ariana, but he's salty life didn't go his way a little bit, you
Well,
know?
it's like I think like this conversation brings up those emotions again where he was on the outs and like everybody judged him for moving on with Allie quickly, quote unquote. And it's like that was 2 months after the ended engagement. Where again, I think, him and Raquel like were slowly easing out of the relationship because they announced the end of the engagement at the reunion filming. Like there was
Yeah.
time to like slowly ease out of it. So even like 3 or 2 months after truly it officially ended, um, they jumped down his throat about it. And so like,
But the group also did. Scheana and Ariana were friends with Raquel. Sandoval was friends with Raquel.
hmm
Sports was talking, it was getting set up with Raquel, but no one was like, James, are you good? Because he wasn't really friends with
yeah,
Katie.
they were so
Lala was just
judgmental
chilling.
and they left him out of things. And so
Yeah. He
I
doesn't
think
like to
he's
be
just
left out.
feisty and it does suck. He's kind of doing the thing that Sandoval's doing though, where he's like comparing his situation to like Ariana's and like kind of putting hers down. And that's why Ariana's like,
No, it's
hey,
almost more like Lala, where he's like, I
mm,
went through that, but no one had my back. Where
yeah.
Lala's like, I got you none, but no one did it to me.
And then like
Anyway,
well, he
though,
starts to get feisty with Ariana and it's like, listen, like, this is not her fault.
yeah, James says it was hard for him, but he never doubted him and Allie working out.
Hmm.
Brock even apologizes. He's like, I'm sorry if I made you feel hurt, which James totally misses because Andy has to be like, Brock just apologized to you. And he's like, thank you, Brock. It was hilarious. Anyway, Sandoval has a new, if you ask me, young girlfriend
Oh
who
my
doesn't
God.
watch the show and is a successful model who dated Leonardo DiCaprio.
Why the
Before,
fuck were we talking about this?
number one, this woman is what, 25?
She has to be older than that because I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio would date 25-year-olds, and they said that
He
she
dates
dated
18.
him.
He dates
Oh,
18-year-old.
18?
Yeah, listen, Leonardo
Jesus.
DiCaprio is a little creepy. How old is Sandoval's girlfriend?
Well, I saw
I said,
that she was just in St.
oh,
Louis, like met the
wow, she's
family.
old. Not old,
Yeah.
but she's
But
older than
like
us.
how I would say 32.
She's 31.
Crushed it.
Wow. Or Schwartz has a 23-year-old in his pocket. Something.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
crazy. Okay, so not young. My bad. I'm judging. Sorry for judging this stupid
Young,
man.
young in a great way, not in a demeaning way.
Not in like a weird grooming, may I
A
say, way.
grooming situation.
Anyway, James says it's freaky because Sandoval has wallpaper in his house of Leonardo DiCaprio walking with a tall brunette model. I'm like, ew.
So, is it her?
We don't know.
My God.
We don't know. But that's all we really talk about. She doesn't watch the show. She was on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy again was like, hey, did all the shit Sandoval do? Did that ever deter you from dating
God.
him? And she was like, I actually don't watch the show,
I'm like,
so
get out of here. You don't deserve to be in the
then
clubhouse.
you shouldn't date him.
Yeah.
Personally, I would, if I'm gonna date someone, we've talked about this before, Brittany Cartwright. If you're gonna date someone on reality TV, you should fucking
You
watch
got to
the
know what
show.
you're going in for.
Yeah. So Andy says Schwartz and Lala were a little flirty this season. And Lala's like, this is why she's not nice. Because she gets called out for fucking flirting.
Yep.
But Katie even was like, it was a little flirty on Schwartz's end. And Lala's like, nah, I would eat Schwartz alive. He can't even try.
Oh my
And end
God.
of
Her
that.
like tough girl shit is kind of annoying.
It goes from like, I'm so soft to I would fucking destroy Schwartz.
That's oh my God. She like picks and chooses when to be in her soft era.
Yeah. So Pump closed down this season because of high rent, to which there's some back and forth about if it was actually high rent or if Lisa can afford it. Doesn't matter. Anyway, Lisa moved all the Pump stuff over to Tom Tom.
We
You
like
know what?
slowly noticed that.
Tom Tom was getting some backlash, so Lisa was like, if we put Pump on it, maybe it's not the same. But the Toms don't think it was diluting the Tom Tom brand, to which I was like, what fucking brand? You own 2.5% each.
Oh my God. The way they felt like they needed to be consulted about that is just unreal.
Well, then, like, I think it's Katie, Ariana, and Lala are like, what the fuck's a Tom Tom brand? It's that lightning bolt, the
That
bejeweled lightning bolt.
sweatshirt.
Like, what the
Oh my
fuck?
God.
So we didn't film at Schwartz and Sandy's this year. After everything that happened, the other business partner, Greg, had an issue with anyone filming in the restaurant. So we're
I
not
love how
doing
we
that.
don't call him by name anymore, as if we don't
I
know who
know,
Greg is.
Greg. Like we didn't see him for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But Greg and the Toms are in a better place now. Sandoval is allowed back into the bar. Schwartz invites everyone to their after party that they're having, and Katie
Read the
goes, "I have to
room.
go." Katie goes, "I have to go trim my cuticles."
I
So
can't.
no thanks. Sandoval has not been able to pay his mom her retirement fund back, but she's at peace with it.
I
I went, oh, terrible.
That
In a
woman's
way
gonna
that a
be
mother
dead
does.
before he can ever pay it back.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna get there. And Katie
Somebody
goes, here. Well, Katie goes, here's an idea: sell your house.
I was gonna say somebody said that, and I was like, I mean, yeah,
Katie, my
maybe
girl.
you shouldn't fight so hard for this fucking house.
So let's talk about something about her. They've had some issues opening. They say they didn't know what was lying ahead. Lisa goes,
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. Fucking Lisa. She goes, I actually
Ah,
think it was disagreements between Katie and Ariana, with Ariana being away. And both Katie and Ariana are like, what are you talking about?
I was like, I'm sorry. You can tell me that because them in the Toms, I'm like, you guys clearly don't have enough restaurant industry knowledge on the opening process. Like, you know how to run a place, I bet. But getting something up and running, like, has a lot of like, you're gonna run into some new stuff, but it's kind of annoying that Lisa's like, oh, it wouldn't take me a year. I'm like, okay, so you're not gonna help them or guide
You've
them.
opened 37 restaurants in 40 years. We
Yeah.
get it. We get it. You know what you're fucking doing. We got it.
And listen, like, did we all like shame the Toms for like not getting their shit together? Absolutely. And do I think something about her is basically in the same boat? Yeah. But guess what? They're gonna get it open, and if they ever open a second location, I bet they learned a hell of a lot.
And I do think it's a little different, right? The Toms were straight up like, we need to enter
Oh,
or put in neon lights and
yeah.
and
And we
rugs
need to
and
find
stuff.
a new couch and
Whereas Katie and Ariana are literally like, fuck, we can't have a patio. You know, like
yeah.
it just seems different. And also, so what? If Ariana's gone and that is a disagreement, then fine, that's slowing it down too. But it's not like
Mhm.
we can't have blue cups, we need green cups.
I
That was like
know.
Schwartz and Sandy's, like we can't open without
Yeah,
the
like they
right
weren't
shit.
having arguments about like the name where like
Put
Schwartz
a
was like,
tiger
actually,
on
I
the
don't
roof.
love that. Oh,
Yeah, like what the fuck? So they bring up Penny. Because of course Lisa's like, well, also, even though I was wrong on the first thing, what about Penny? That's a thing. And Katie says that Penny was there for, she was only there for 2 months, to which Lala was like, that's a lie. We saw her for a year, which I was also
okay.
confused about.
I think what like our what Katie is trying to say is like
She was
she was like
hired.
on salary, yeah, for like a short period of time, but she's probably a contractor with them, and like, they paid her, intermittently for
Yeah,
stuff
like she
to
was only
like,
on the team for 2 months or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah. So Penny did think she was going to be a partner, to which Katie and Ariana were like, it was just a mismatch of people, like personalities. It's
definitely.
just
And
not
I
it.
hate that Lisa's like, wow, you didn't really like treat her right. I'm sorry, what? This is their business. And if Penny
Didn't
wants to be an owner of a sandwich shop, this is not the right group. Like they don't want her to be an owner.
didn't
Why are they
Lisa
in the
get
wrong for that?
didn't she get in trouble for like not paying her employees at some point? So
Probably.
bag off. So Andy asked Schwartz if he's happy that the sandwich shop isn't opening because Schwartz and Sandy's got so much slack, basically. Um, to which he claims no, but James calls out as Andy was saying it. There was a little smile that came on Schwartz, like ooh, which he says it's more like they know how he's feeling now, opposed to like.
Hmm.
But I think he's a little happy because he hates women, and this is a women's thing.
Here's the thing. You have to be a little bit
Here's
happy, but
the thing.
he's doing the right thing this reunion with giving some diplomatic answers.
Yeah, just shut up. So, how did Ariana feel seeing Lala interact with Sandoval this season? To which Ariana, this is where she admits she hasn't seen the season, which, listen, I always say you got to see the season before coming on the reunion.
Hmm.
So, I wouldn't say I'm mad at Ariana because I understand, right? She wanted to protect her peace. She didn't want to get dragged back into this terrible time. I get that. And from a mental health perspective, do what you have to. No one's making you do anything, kind of thing. But from a viewer perspective, can you just watch the show, please?
I know, but
Yeah.
her answer on Watch What Happens Live, which was technically came after the filming of
Yeah.
this, like made more sense. She was like, I didn't have the time with Chicago, and I'm like, yeah, no, I give you more of an excuse than a lot of other people for like not
Yeah,
watching your show.
she's doing 2-ish shows a day. So she has
Hmm.
to get to the theater. My friend and I always try and figure out like what time these people actually show up because you do a show at like 1 and then one at like 7 or 8. So you have to get to the theater to warm up and get hair and makeup and everything. So you're probably there by
I've seen
oh,
TikToks with people where they're like, I'm doing a lot of that at home. They like they like are walking
she's
in when
not
like,
watching Vanderpump Rules then getting ready,
no,
like she's
no,
like
no, no, no.
yeah,
But I'm
so
saying like
she has to get
warming up,
ready.
like all of her exercises, like
Oh,
she
I'm
can do that
sure.
at home.
Yeah. So she's doing all that. So she wakes up at let's say 9.
Hmm.
She by let's say 11, she has to be at the theater for a 1 o'clock show. Then she
Oh, they're
what?
not getting there that early. Like the people I've seen, the videos I've seen, they're walking in like 45 minutes before show starts. Because
Ariana's
it's
gonna
a
get
routine.
pissed in the
They're
shit.
so
It's
used to
true.
that stuff.
Okay, so she gets there at 1 even. So she wakes up,
Hmm.
she has only a few hours to do whatever. She gets there at 1 for her 1 o'clock show, which I don't think so, but And then she's there until 10:30ish for her last show. She then goes home via car, so it's gonna take a while to get out of Times
Yeah, that's
Square.
just, it's on her
She
priorities.
gets
And
home
that's,
at let's say midnight-ish. And then yeah, she's gotta do it all again the next day.
but I think that's a big thing that is annoying, like Lala, Scheana, like this show is not her priority. It's not her end all be all, where it is theirs. Or like that's what I think of some of the other side of like the audience sits is they're like my sister's on the other side from us, and like she wants this show, like, and I'm like, I don't really give a shit if
Did
Ariana is
your
gonna
sister
like
just
destroy her
start?
whole life just to like watch this like just to produce this show. Like I actually care about Ariana more than the show, and I think that's where the divide in the audience is. Do you prioritize Ariana or do you prioritize the show?
Did your sister just start the show?
Watching it, yeah, like right season 10. Like she went back and watched some stuff, but yeah.
I think that's it though. For years we have like grown to love and hate these people so they
Mm-hmm.
feel like our own. And also because we've been watching this for 10, 11 years at this point, it can end for me, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I
Remember what
agree.
I said on our deathbed? People are gonna be like, "What'd you do?" And we're gonna be like, there was a 10-year stint. We watched a bunch of hot waiters cheat on each other. Like, how
Oh my
embarrassing
god.
is that for us? Other people can be like, "I saw this CNN article, and so I watched this full show."
They're
And
like,
not us.
I watched 11 seasons in 3 years.
We were fucking losers, and we waited for these seasons to premiere, like
Honestly.
every single year. Anyway, so um, Lala also though was very transparent with what she was doing, so Ariana didn't feel like there's anything on the show she didn't know about. We did see that Katie and Lala had some tension this year.
Mm-hmm.
Katie goes, "Yeah, I think we figured it out." And Lala goes, "I know why we had tension." And Katie goes, "Oh, okay."
Uh, like what? I feel like Lala thinks she's like dropping this big bomb, and I'm like,
Lala has one-sided beef. You know, like she's like,
yes.
Katie and I are beefing, and Katie goes, "Who are you?" Like,
Well,
what?
it sounds like when Katie like works things out with her friends, she actually like moves on and like chooses to move forward. Whereas like Lala's like, I still can't believe she
I
did
know the
that.
beef.
Yeah.
So Katie says it was because Lala and Scheana got close, and Katie's like very much about loyalty, and she couldn't trust Scheana. So like, how is she going to trust Lala with Scheana? Which yeah,
Yeah.
Katie's overly loyal, so I get it. Um, we also then learned Lala says it's because Katie DM'd her about Scheana and said, quote, "Get rid of your lawyers and get a fucking therapist. You're a fucking clown," end quote. And you could tell Katie was like, "I don't think I said that." And I went, "Yeah, you did.
I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
did, you clown."
oh, also, I did. So she DM'd that on like Instagram, or was
Also,
this
what
a
did was it
text?
out of the blue? Or was there like
Yeah,
a picture of her
I'm
and
like,
Scheana that she was
I
like,
need, I need more details on this, please.
so then Lala took it like she's coming for her custody battle, which Katie's like, "I wasn't doing that." And listen, as someone not in a custody battle, I also probably wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making fun of your custody battle. I'm saying like
Well,
drop your lawyers, get your therapist, which is a great
yes.
line,
Well, because
honestly.
it's so personal, Lala. And
It's
Lala, like,
so
this is
good.
the end of the world for Lala, and rightfully so. Like, it is the end of her world.
I
Because
get it.
Katie's
Yes.
like, I don't give a shit about. I mean, I hope you end up with the best for you and your daughter, but like,
But you
I
should
don't
invest in
care.
mental health at this point,
Yeah,
bitch, because you're a
yeah.
clown. Yeah, that was Katie goes, "I think I did say clown."
Oh, I believe it all. I believe it
So
all.
we revisit girls' night. Lala says it wasn't her intention to make girls' night about her because that was Katie's whole
Mm-hmm.
issue. Like, you don't know what Ariana's going through. You keep comparing it to yourself. And Lala says, or Katie says, when Lala sees situations similar to hers, Lala does make it about herself. And Katie is like, you need to see it through Ariana's shoes. Stop telling people
Yeah.
how to handle situations. To which
Yes. Which
Lala
Lala
says,
does. She doesn't just give her story and be like, oh,
yeah.
I understand because of
She's like,
XYZ.
you need to forgive because that's what's the
Mm-hmm.
best. But
Yeah.
Lala's like, I would have loved someone to tell me what to do. And I'm like, okay, that's you. But like,
Yeah.
I'm a grown ass woman. No one should tell me what my decision should be.
No, you should just be there to support me and ask what I need.
Truly, the more someone tells me to forgive something, the more I never will. My
Especially
friend,
when
okay,
it's that man. Like,
I'm only saying this because Meredith knows her. My friend Allie is so non-confrontational and she's so like you should be kind to everyone. So if I'm literally
oh my
like I
gosh.
hate someone, she's like you should forget about them, and I go just for that, I'm never forgetting this person and what they've done to me.
Yeah.
And I
The
always
more
fight with her. I'm like, just because you said that, now you're fucked because I'm going to
the more
remember
you
that
tell
you
me
said
to,
that.
the
I'm
more
gonna
I'm
remember
not.
not only what this person did, but I'm gonna remember you told me to fucking forgive them. And
Yeah.
absolutely not. Okay, so Scheana brings up that Katie would have loved for people to rally around her as Ariana did, which I guess is something Katie said. And Katie goes, yeah, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I agree. And Katie's like, I told Ariana that. Like, she
Hmm.
knows. And
Yeah, it
then,
would be really easy to have everybody in the entire world support you.
yeah, if I could rock out, that's the greatest feeling in the world, I'm sure. And then Lala says she feels abandoned by Katie. And Katie goes,
Which I was
how?
like,
Because
abandoned.
well,
Like,
Katie's
oh
like,
my God.
I didn't want to jump on the Tom train. Like, so you rode it alone? Like, what was your
Yeah.
issue? Also, not to make this is biased, I think, because I'm a single woman with no kids. But like when y'all have kids and you ditch me, I feel abandoned.
Alicia, I thought
don't
the
don't
same
at me,
thing. But
parents.
but I was like, also like Katie didn't abandon you. You guys were still friends. Your guys' dynamic shit. Like Scheana and Lala became closer because their lives aligned more, and Ariana and Katie's lives got closer because their lives aligned more too. It's like Lala wants to be everybody's number one, and I think Katie kind of is similar. Like she wants her friends to be deeply loyal to her and just like do whatever Katie kind of wants.
Yeah.
Um, and if not, then they like won't be so close. And Katie will just distance herself and like kind of take those few steps away. Whereas like Lala is like pissed about it. She's like, you left me all because I was friends with Scheana. It's like, no, she took some space away from you.
Yeah. Also, if you're hanging out with Tom Sandoval, Katie's not going to be there.
No.
You know one thing.
You made
That was
life
probably
choices that I don't want to be, I don't want to do anything about.
in her divorce with Tom Schwartz. I'm willing to bet there was a clause that said like we just are too different. You're friends with Tom Sandoval and I fucking hate him. And this is why
God,
we're divorcing. Just all
seriously.
of it. So they're talking about like conversations about having the public support. But I don't really know. It kind of gets wild a little bit. Like Lala says Katie and Ariana both abandoned her for the sandwich shop. And Katie's immediately like, what are you fucking talking about?
I was so confused why Lala is like, because now Lala's upset. Like, we never got these conversations on camera.
Oh, that was it. Lala's like, Katie, you were mad Ariana abandoned you for
You,
on the sandwich
yeah.
shop. And Katie
Lala
immediately,
kept
yeah,
saying that Katie was different on camera and off camera. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, there are things that are like open for business, when it comes to like
women.
sharing your life on camera. It's okay to like withhold some things if you don't want to discuss them. But what you're claiming Katie is doing with like Ariana and their dynamic, Lala, you're doing with Katie and that dynamic. Like you're not
Yeah,
being honest on camera exactly what you want. You want Katie to say she's pissed at Ariana on camera. Why?
yeah. Well, yeah. So Ariana, I guess, didn't give Katie a heads up about Broadway, which is shitty.
Well,
Um,
wondering if it was the NDA thing, similar to Scheana and in the what's the dancing show? Dancing with the
Dancing with the
Stars.
Stars.
Yeah, who knows if she could
Oh,
have.
that's right. Yeah, well, whatever. But Katie was a little upset about it. So she vented to Lala about it, who is
Yeah.
her friend. And then Katie
Mm-hmm.
says it was also her own insecurities, right? Like she wanted to do the sandwich shop with Tom. Tom wouldn't do it with her. Ariana was.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ariana's just going to Broadway. And Katie's like, do I have to do this by myself? I totally
Yeah.
understand. And it sounds like Katie and Ariana have talked about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Katie has since like posted a statement and she was like, Ariana and I have had
Yeah.
multiple conversations about this.
Yeah, which I'm sure Ariana was apologetic because they're still friends and opening a fucking sandwich shop together. So,
And Ariana is going to do a second stint like in her show like later this summer. So it
yeah,
can't be that bad if she's going to do it again.
yeah. So Lala says her and Katie are the truth tellers of the group, and that's why they're the enemies.
Oh my god.
They're truthers, you know?
I
So
these fucking truthers always getting in
we're
trouble.
truthers. So this is where Lala says Katie was different on camera versus off camera, and Lala thinks Katie and Scheana lived in the comment section as well as James
Oh my
because
god.
James and Katie knew to support Ariana. So that's what they did when maybe that they didn't actually like her. Like it was so weird.
Which tells me Like, Lala, you are going against Ariana because you truly want to. That's what's so insane. Like, you
You
deep in your
don't want her
soul.
at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take her down instead of, yeah, fucking hitch your wagon to the. We said there are two sides. There are literally two sides. Bravo chose a side which is so dumb because they chose Sandoval. I would pick fucking Ariana in a second. What's not to pick? She was the one that got cheated on and now she's getting the public support. Yeah, it's a win-win for everyone over there, right?
Well, also, like, we're all living this, like, life at the same time. Like, yeah, we get insight into some of this stuff a few months later than when it, like, originally happened for you, but, like, we're all in this life at the
Yeah,
exact same time. So you're not writing a scripted show and seeing what the fans like and changing it. Like, shouldn't you just be living the life that, like, is actually happening? And,
it's
like,
so
why
weird.
is, like, the things that we think, like, wild things to, like listen to? Like,
Yeah,
if you got cheated on in normal life, I would still think it's like insane to be best friends and, like, trying to fight for the redemption story of your perpetrator.
it
Like,
is.
that's
It's
not
insane.
wild concepts. If somebody's writing it in a comment and then it's like Katie is thinking it too.
Also, Katie, of all people, who is so fucking loyal for
Yeah.
years,
Mhm.
you know she's not going to join this, whether she's in the comment section or not. She's picking the girl each and every time because also she hates Tom Sandoval.
I know.
She knew what side she was on before it was even written.
And so, like, what was Sheena's real side? Was the comment side the side being a friend to Ariana, even though she's been a friend to Ariana for like 20 plus years, you know?
I didn't know if Aria or if Lala was just like, oh, this is in general who's living in the comment section, or like this is in general who's in the comment
Whose
section
behavior
supporting
is
Ariana.
changing?
Because I think she
Yeah.
called out James for supporting Ariana, which I was like,
Yeah.
let him pick a side, dude. He's got enough slack. Let him pick. You
Hmm.
know? And then Katie says she went to Lala about this because she didn't want to bring the drama to Ariana. But if Lala's not someone she can trust, then Katie will go fucking elsewhere. How about that?
Yeah.
And Lala says, there was a phone call when you, Katie, lost your shit on me. And Katie goes, yeah, because you wanted me to throw Ariana under the bus about how I was mad. And I said I wasn't going to do that.
How gross.
Also, this whole time, Ariana's face looks so sad, like broken.
It
So
just it's insane to me how, like, Lala's storyline is like being mad at other people for not
for
doing
living
more on their own
life,
story, but, like, do their storylines. So, like, if you think that this show isn't authentic, why don't you show more? Like, you can only
yeah,
change your own purview of it. Like, do something about it. Actually
it's
show
so
something of your
weird.
own life.
It's so weird. So Lala doesn't think Katie is the same person she's always been, which I was like, well, it's been very many years. So but Katie said, if you're, or Lala claims that Katie said, if you're going to fuck with my business, I'm going to fuck with yours. And I love that for
Oh
Katie.
my
And I think she
god.
meant the show. I don't think she meant Lala's
The
lipstick
Give
line
Them
that
Lala
also,
brand.
oh, this is just me being another woman without a kid. But I would just like to say,
Yep.
I'm going to say it and I'm going to get hate for
Mhm.
it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Okay, Lala fucking with Katie's business seems is like fine apparently because Katie like is a single
Doesn't have a
woman.
child
But
to
Lala
support.
goes, how dare you fuck with my business because I have a kid that I need to feed through my business. I'm like, Katie, you still shouldn't fuck with her business, whether she's
That's the
got a kid or
thing.
not. That's
Your
not an argument. It's
career,
not an
your
argument.
money. Yes, like, you are not superior to me because you have a child. I'm so tired of, like,
I'm
my
done.
time, my money, my business not, like, mattering as much because I don't have a family. I'm not married. I don't have a child.
Yeah. Oh, I actually can't go because I have a kid and I don't have the time to go. Okay, well, I don't want to go, so I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
Either way, it's just an excuse for fucking
Excuses.
using.
Yeah, excuses are valid no matter
Yeah.
what.
How dare you come after me because I have a kid? Don't come after me because I have a reputation. How about that? Leave it out. Like
Because you're
it,
my friend.
yeah, just fucking shut up. Like it. Also, Katie's not thinking like, oh, I'm going after your child.
I'm going after Ocean's, like, food.
Yeah, no. You'll feed your kid. I'm sure of it. Didn't you just buy a house? You got money for food.
Yeah,
Okay,
you'll
you're
figure it out.
good.
Well, I mean, she's trying hard to make sure the show keeps going or to get on the Valley, so
Jesus Christ.
girlie needs
Okay,
to
so
hustle.
this is the end of the episode. Next time, Allie and Joe join us. Sandoval is shutting his mouth about stuff he heard.
Oh my God.
Katie opens up that she was dealing with shit. And Ariana and Lala, I don't want to say face off a little, but like, confront each other a little.
It needs
So
to get more
great.
spicy. Do you think they're gonna show those last 7 minutes of the show in the third
Like
part?
what we like show us what they're
Yeah.
seeing. They better. How boring would it be for us to just see them go, oh,
No,
what?
no, no. I mean, like, do you think it's gonna be in the second part or the third part of the
Oh, I
reunion?
thought it's like, are we just gonna watch their reaction to
No.
whatever? I think it's gonna be in the third part, but in the middle, and then the last half will be talking about it.
This did not need to be three parts. This episode did not need to happen.
Well, let me tell you, we didn't have to talk about honestly most of this.
Yeah,
So whatever. Anyway, we obviously don't do accepted and blocked for reunion episodes.
it's done.
We're not gonna read thoughts. I'm so sorry. We might for the last episode, but I think through the reunion, like it's just the worst, you know.
It's a
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, thank you so much for listening. We will unfortunately be covering the next two parts, even though it could have just been one. We
Ugh,
could have been done with it.
seriously.
But yeah, do all the things I mentioned at the beginning. Everyone wish Meredith a really fun time in Paris. I think the next time we record, she also still might be there. So,
Yeah,
or
I
she
will
might
keep
be in
traveling away.
Italy. Who knows where she'll be? But yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for joining. Bye.